My mother was a high school graduate. My dad never made it past the 7th grade. Back in those days, economics were difficult. But they instilled in me a tremendous work ethic. And they also planted in my mind the fact that the opportunity for education for me was there. And I needed to take advantage of all those opportunities to get all the education that I could get.
It takes me an hour and 15 minutes to get to campus. Every semester I make that trip just to have Professor Lane class. He's going to make sure you catch that train and lead you into the professional business world.
I don't have a teaching philosophy. I have a learning philosophy. I think you have to start at the proper place. For instruction to be effective, learning has to take place. So you can measure instructional effectiveness through learning.
I think the most memorable point that Professor Lane have taught me was lead by example. Being a leader, you got to be the first one there. He's going to be ahead of schedule, matter of fact. And I love that about him. And I could take it to my business and I could implement that. And that have really helped me.
You start with your goal, which is the student. What do you want the student to do? You want the student to learn. You want the student to be successful. As a result of that, there are certain things that you do. So the process is teaching, but the goal is learning. So I have a learning philosophy, and there are certain things that I do to try to accomplish that goal, student learning and student success.
My first day of school, I was very uncertain and unsure of myself. I'm a single mom of 4. I have a full-time job. I was very concerned if I could do it. My first day of class, I came in, I sat down, and I hear music. And in comes Professor Lane with his intro music, and he introduces himself, and it just put me at ease.
So when students are in a classroom, they're comfortable and they have certain expectations of themselves, and they know I have certain expectations of them. And I learn from the students. The students learn from me, and we learn from each other. It starts with the student. Now sometimes folks don't necessarily like to hear that. It starts with me. It starts with what I teach. You know, professors can love their material, and they should. They get engrossed in their material, and that's fine. But it's not about the professor. It's not about the material. It's about the student.
Whether you're 17 or 80, he can relate with you, and he seems to make the complex very simple. He can facilitate and demonstrate and just breaks it down in layman's terms to where anybody can really understand what he's talking about. Fairness above and beyond, his integrity and his approach to how he treats everybody, whether you're a veteran or a kid from a high school, or he goes out of his way to make you feel comfortable in the classroom and just expects you to exceed his expectation.
If you don't care about students and you don't care about their success, don't get in the job, because that's what it's all about. Students know whether you're sincere or not. They know whether you care about them or not. And if a student says, you know, that professor cares about me, that professor feels like I can be successful, that professor is going to spend some time with me, then that makes them believe in themselves, and it gives them a whole lot more confidence. An instructor has to be a believer. They have to be a believer in their student, and they have to care about their student.
Mr. Joe Lane makes a connection with our students that's meaningful. I know that because when I'm out in public and a student sees me and they say, hey, I think you work at Delta. I say, I do. They ask me if I know Joe Lane. He makes a connection with them that's meaningful, that lasts a lifetime, and there's always something that students take away from his class that they remember well into their career.
Most of the time, our success is not our success alone. Our success, we have to count on a lot of other people. When a manager manages, the success that they experience as a manager a lot of times comes from the success of their employees. Their employees are going to have to be successful for them to be successful. And then there's other folks in life that help you to be successful. I think I've seen things from a number of different perspectives. From the military, from an employee's perspective, and from a management perspective. And here's a kind of an overriding thing that's come out of that for me. And that's this. Everybody has worth. And everybody should be treated with dignity and respect.